Do you have animals, Beth?
4 of them.
Can you tell me their names?
Clyde, Shuggy, Darcy, and Annie. And Daddy said a day ago that there was a stray cat who did not have a home, so Daddy was taking care of it and took it to the vet when he had his flight to go.
And what do you do to the animals, Beth?
Stick them with pins.
Do you stick them a little bit or a lot?
A lot.
What are you trying to do to the animals, Beth?
Kill them.
What do they do when you stick them with the pins?
Well, Annie cries. She's a dog.
Her name was Beth, and her story was unlike anything you've ever heard before. At just 6 years old, she sat in front of a camera for a television interview. No one expected what came next. The words that left her lips didn't sound like those of an innocent child. They sounded like something far darker. What could a little girl possibly say that would leave the entire world stunned?
Kill him.
Why do you want your brother to die?
Because I was hurt so bad, and I don't want to be around people.
Okay. Who else would you like to stick pins into?
Mommy and Daddy.
Beth wasn't like other kids her age. Behind her small frame and innocent smile hid a storm of pain and anger, the kind that doesn't just disappear. Her adoptive parents, Tim and Julie Tennant, believed they were giving her a second chance at life, a home filled with love and safety. But what they didn't know was how dark Beth's past truly was. That darkness first came to light during her sessions with psychiatrist Dr. Ken Megid. It was there, in the quiet of that therapy room, that Beth shared things no one ever expected to hear from a child so young. Words that would leave everyone shaken. The Tennants, who had opened their hearts to her, soon realized they were facing something terrifying, something no parent could prepare for. Beth's story would unfold like a chilling puzzle, piece by piece, revealing how the scars of a broken childhood can shape a young mind in unimaginable ways. But this was only the beginning. What exactly did Beth say in those sessions? And how did her past push her down such a dark path? Beth Thomas was born around 1982, somewhere in the United States. Her life started far from ordinary. When she was barely a year old, tragedy struck. Her mother passed away, leaving Beth and her baby brother Jonathan in the care of their father. You might think a father would step up and protect his children after such a loss. But what happened next was beyond anyone's worst fears. Instead of love and care, Beth and Jonathan experienced things no child should ever endure. For months, their lives were filled with neglect and harm that words can barely describe. Beth was only 1 year old, and Jonathan was just 7 months when everything began. Eventually, they were taken from that environment, but by then, the damage was done. Jonathan had spent so much time lying in his crib without proper care that his little head became misshapen. He couldn't even sit up. That was the level of suffering these children endured. And yet, this is only the surface of Beth's story. What she revealed later would shock the world and leave even experienced professionals speechless.
Myself was found in a bassinet with little patches of urine all over it and a dirty diaper and a couple of bottles at his feet that had curdled milk, and the back of his head was completely flat. The front of his head had bulged out, and at 7 months he couldn't raise his head, couldn't roll over. He was just had no stimulation.
In February of 1984, everything finally changed for Beth and Jonathan. The Department of Social Services stepped in and removed them from their father's care. It was a rescue, one that may have saved their lives, but it came too late to erase the damage. The scars, both physical and emotional, were already deeply etched into their young souls. After the children were taken away, the next challenge began: finding them a new home. They needed more than just shelter. They needed a safe place to heal from the horrors they had endured. That's when a couple looking to adopt learned about these two little ones. Their names were Tim and Julie Tennant. Tim and Julie were ready to open their hearts completely. They believed they were about to give Beth and Jonathan the love and stability every child deserves, but they had no idea how much pain these children carried within them. Beth and Jonathan were just babies when they entered the Tennant home, Beth only 19 months old, Jonathan just 7 months. But trauma doesn't disappear with a change of address. The past clung to them like a shadow no one could see, at least not yet. Tim and Julie were kind, loving people. They had been married for over 10 years. Tim was a minister at a small Methodist church in the American South, and together they had longed for children of their own. When they were told these two siblings were normal and healthy, they were overjoyed. They thought their dream had come true, but the truth was far from what they were told. Beth's early life had left scars far deeper than anyone could imagine, and soon the signs began to show. At first, it was little things, small, unsettling moments that didn't seem to make sense, but those moments quickly grew into something far more disturbing. Then came the day that changed everything. Julie was watching Beth play in the yard when she noticed her little girl doing something completely unexpected. Beth had found a nest of tiny baby birds in a tree, and what happened next would leave Julie frozen in fear.
She got baby birds down out of the nest, and we thought maybe she was just curious. So we explained that she could hurt them, put them back, and went through a whole sitting down and talking to her about the problem of it. And the next day we went out to check the baby birds, and they were on the ground dead with their necks broken.
Julie gently tried to explain to Beth that if she took the nest, the mother bird would never return. But Beth didn't seem to care. Without hesitation, she pulled the nest down from the tree. And then, in a moment that left Julie frozen in shock, Beth did the unthinkable. One by one, she squeezed the tiny baby birds until they were lifeless. It was a chilling scene, one that revealed a darkness no one had seen coming.
What do you do to the animals, Beth?
Stick them with pins.
Do you stick them a little bit or a lot?
A lot.
What are you trying to do to the animals, Beth?
Kill them.
But that chilling moment was only the beginning. As time passed, Beth's behavior grew darker, especially toward her little brother, Jonathan. This wasn't simple sibling rivalry. It went far beyond teasing or harmless pranks. Beth began to torment Jonathan in ways that were both emotionally and physically cruel. And with each passing day, her actions became more alarming.
Jonathan, one morning, she was molesting him. He was crying and his pants were down, and I said, "Beth, what's happening?" And she said, "I pulled his penis and put my finger up his anus." And I said, "Didn't he say to stop?" And she said, "Yeah, he did." And I said, "Did you?" And she said, "No."
Beth's anger toward Jonathan wasn't just harmless frustration, it was something far more dangerous. There were moments when she tried to seriously hurt him, even end his life. One day, in a chilling act, Beth grabbed her little brother and slammed his head against a concrete floor. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't a slip or a fall. Beth wanted to see him bleed, and this was only a glimpse of the darkness that was taking over her young mind.
Had tried to kill John on several occasions and openly admitted that.
In the basement, she was hitting his head against a cement floor. I heard his screams and ran down and had to literally pull her hands off, and she looked wild-eyed.
Beth didn't try to hide her thoughts. She spoke them out loud. She told Tim and Julie without hesitation that she wanted to kill Jonathan, but it didn't stop there. She also admitted she wanted to stab them, her own adoptive parents. It became frighteningly clear. Beth had no sense of right or wrong, no inner voice telling her that what she wanted to do was wrong. And when she wasn't making threats, her behavior became even more disturbing. She began doing things completely inappropriate for a child, openly, without a trace of shame, as if she didn't care who was watching. What the Tennants were witnessing was beyond anything they could have imagined, and it was only getting worse.
Have you ever rubbed your private parts?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do it a lot?
A lot.
How much do you do that?
About every single day, and that's into I did it every single day until it got real bad and messed up, and I had to go to the doctor, and I did not like it.
There was no hesitation, no sign of guilt, just a little girl consumed by impulses she couldn't seem to control. And that made everyone wonder, how far would she go?
I knew then, I thought, she's got them.
Tell me about the knives. Where did you get them?
From the drawer.
And where else? Do you remember? Tell me about it.
I got them from the dishwasher.
What kind of knives?
Big sharp ones.
And what do you want to do with those knives?
Kill John and Mommy with them, and Daddy.
Tim and Julie were beyond terrified. They had opened their hearts, believing they could give this little girl a safe and loving home. But now, their home felt like a ticking time bomb. Every night, they locked Beth inside her room, not out of cruelty, but out of sheer necessity. It was the only way to protect Jonathan and themselves. Behind that door was a child filled with an anger they couldn't understand, a rage that only seemed to grow stronger with each passing day. They still loved her, but that love was tangled with fear. Fear of what she might do next, fear of what she had already become. What began as a story of hope was spiraling into a nightmare, and as time went on, one chilling truth became undeniable. Beth Thomas wasn't just a troubled child. Something much darker was buried deep within her.
Probably a couple of months until we began to learn something about their background and their past. And when we learned it, some things seemed to fall in place about her behavior and John's behavior.
Eventually, doctors gave her condition a name, reactive attachment disorder, or RAD for short. It's not something you hear about every day. In fact, it's rare. So rare that it's usually diagnosed only in the most extreme cases. Experts estimate it affects about 1% to 2% of children, but for kids in foster care, children like Beth, that number may be even higher. Beth began intensive therapy sessions with a psychologist named Dr. Ken Magid. And as those sessions unfolded, the horrifying truth behind her behavior started to emerge. This wasn't just a case of a difficult child acting out. This was the result of unimaginable neglect and mistreatment at the hands of her biological father. Slowly, piece by piece, Beth began to open up. Her words painted a picture that was almost too dark to comprehend. By 1990, her story reached the world through an HBO documentary called Child of Rage. The cameras captured every chilling detail of her therapy sessions, and when the footage aired, it shocked millions. The things Beth confessed, the calmness with which she spoke about them, it was unlike anything people had ever seen in a child so young. In one of the most unsettling moments, Dr. Magid gently asked, "How would you hurt your parents if you could?" Beth didn't flinch. She didn't hesitate. Her answer was cold, emotionless. Stab them.
And what would you do to him, Beth?
Stab him.
Okay. What would you stab him with?
A knife.
She calmly explained her plan. She would wait until nightfall. That way they wouldn't see her do it, but they would feel it.
When would you do it?
Nighttime.
Okay. Why would you do nighttime?
Because I don't like them seeing me do it. But they can feel me do it.
Beth didn't hesitate when the question came. She admitted she wanted to hurt her little brother, Jonathan. When Dr. Magid gently asked what she had done to him, Beth answered with chilling calmness. She had hit him, pinched him, squeezed him, and even kicked him. These weren't the innocent words of a child. They were the unsettling confessions of someone carrying wounds far deeper than anyone imagined.
Now, I pinch it, squeeze it, kick it.
When you do things to your brother's private parts, what does he say?
Stop.
Through these sessions, the truth began to surface. The weight Beth carried inside was far heavier than anyone imagined. Every word, every action revealed a glimpse into the darkness she had endured. But as painful as it was to witness, these therapy sessions were only the beginning, the first steps toward uncovering her past and finding a way to heal. Then things took an even darker turn. Her therapist, Dr. Magid, began asking about a recurring nightmare Beth had often mentioned. In that dream, she was inside a house, trapped upstairs, while a man slowly climbed the stairs to hurt her. At first, it sounded like a simple nightmare, but as they dug deeper, the horrifying truth emerged. The man wasn't imaginary. He was real. He was her birth father.
She began showing some signs of perhaps even some abuse. There was a nightmare that she had, and the nightmare was about a man who was falling on her and hurting her with a part of himself.
Beth's memories of her father were nothing short of horrifying, especially considering how young she had been when it all happened. During one therapy session, Dr. Magid gently asked her what she remembered about her biological father. Beth paused and then she began to speak. What she shared was beyond shocking. In her soft, childlike voice, Beth described how her father treated her and her little brother, Jonathan, with a cruelty that's almost impossible to comprehend. She said he hurt her in ways no child should ever endure. The pain, she explained, was unbearable, and it didn't stop there. Beth recalled being left hungry, beaten, and treated with nothing but meanness whenever he was near. Even though she was just a child, the memories were burned into her mind, memories so vivid they would haunt her forever.
Tell me about your birth father. What was that nightmare like?
When he touched my vagina
Okay.
until it bled, hurt it a lot until it bled, and wouldn't feed me a lot. He'd hit on me, wouldn't be very nice to me.
How old were you?
1.
When Dr. Magid gently asked Beth how old she was when these things happened, her answer was devastating. She was just a year old. It's almost impossible to imagine a child so young enduring something so horrific. But that was Beth's reality. The trauma she faced at such a tender age shaped everything: her behavior, her emotions, even the way she viewed the world. And even after completing her sessions with Dr. Ken Magid, it was clear Beth's journey to healing was far from over. Dr. Magid believed she needed something more, something deeper. So he made a difficult decision. Beth would have to be temporarily separated from her adoptive family. She was placed in the care of Connell Watkins, a therapist known for her strict, highly structured approach to behavioral therapy. Watkins didn't believe in chaos. Her methods were disciplined, almost rigid. Every single move Beth made came with rules. If she wanted to eat, she asked. If she needed the bathroom, she asked. Even the smallest activities required permission. And at night, Watkins locked Beth in her room, not as punishment, but as a way to maintain safety and control. But would this approach be enough to reach the darkness inside Beth?
What do your parents do to your door?
Lock it shut,
Why do they lock it shut?
because they don't want me to hurt John.
It might sound harsh, but for Beth, it became a turning point. The strict rules forced her to work for trust, to earn every privilege from Connell Watkins and the staff around her. It wasn't easy and it wasn't quick, but it was exactly what she needed to start changing course, step by careful step. Slowly, Beth began to understand that choices carry consequences. Little by little, real signs of change appeared. But could they hold? Under Watkins's care, Beth began to flourish. The structure she'd been missing finally gave her something solid to stand on. For the first time, she expressed genuine remorse for the pain she'd caused her brother and her adoptive parents, and that alone felt monumental. As she improved, she earned more freedom, one privilege at a time. The process taught her that trust is built, not given, and that better choices open doors. but some questioned the cost of those methods. Beth's progress became a testament to what focused therapy can do and to the importance of finding the right approach for each child. Still, not everyone agreed with Watkins's style. Some called it too strict, even controversial. For Beth, though, it was the structure that finally made room for healing. And that's where the debate begins. After all that work and all that change, Beth was readopted by another woman, Nancy Thomas. During treatment, Nancy offered a fresh start and a supportive home where Beth could keep growing. Beth thrived. She went on to graduate from the University of Colorado with a nursing degree, a remarkable milestone for someone who had endured so much so young. Then came 2005. Beth accepted a position as a registered nurse at Flagstaff Medical Center in Arizona. She now cares for babies with the same dedication and compassion she once needed herself, a full-circle moment few could have predicted. Beyond her job, Beth began volunteering with her second adoptive mother, Nancy, in a program called Families by Design, supporting adoptive and foster families facing tough challenges. The goal was simple: help others navigate the storms Beth had survived. But controversy wasn't far behind. Because while Beth's life sounds almost like a hard-won happy ending, some people see it as a rare exception. She was treated by Connell Watkins, whose methods grew increasingly debated over time. To critics, Beth's case was an outlier. Powerful, yes, but not easily replicated. That debate intensified after a tragedy. In 2011, Watkins was found guilty of negligent mistreatment of a child after 10-year-old Candace Newmaker died under her care during a controversial practice called rebirthing. The method involved wrapping a child in blankets and applying pressure with pillows to simulate birth. It went terribly wrong. Candace was fatally smothered. Watkins was sentenced to 16 years in prison, but served 7 before being paroled. The fallout cast a long shadow over the techniques she used and over anyone associated with them. In the years that followed, advocacy groups for children in therapy spoke out strongly against attachment therapy, the approach linked to Watkins. They criticized both Beth and Nancy Thomas for supporting these practices, arguing that the parenting methods Nancy promoted, shaped by attachment therapy, leaned on isolation, deprivation, and other harsh strategies that could harm the very children they aimed to help. The criticism was loud, and it wasn't going away. As one of the few adults who went through attachment-based treatment and later spoke about it positively, Beth became a controversial figure herself. She and Nancy continued to promote materials and services connected to that approach, fuel for a debate that shows no sign of cooling. Beth Thomas's story doesn't end with her personal success. It continues in the families she supports, the infants she nurses, and the hard questions her journey forces us to ask. How do we best help the most vulnerable children heal, and what methods truly serve them? The answer isn't simple, and every child's path is uniquely their own, which means the conversation is far from over.